Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe, Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Gaur Pimarandi. Jai Mishupad Paramahamsa Pri Vrajagacharya Stotra Satya Sri Srimad His Divine Grace Shirabai Charan Narvin Bhakti Vedanta Swami Sri Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Skandiviti Founder Acharya Divine Grace Sri Prabhupada Ki Namacharya Sri Haridas Thakur Ki Samaveta Bhakti Vrinda Ki Harinam Sankirtan Ki Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Nitai Gaur Pimanande. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and to Sri Gauranga, all glories to Sri Prabhupada Ki. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Yaksuran Belitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaisnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakanditam Cha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kancana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hare Priye Vansakalpa Tarubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Vyaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narotamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our means of conquest, let us first offer our respectful obeisances unto Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Nara, Narayana Rishi, the Supremost Human Being, unto Mother Saraswati, the Goddess of Learning, and unto Sridham Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta Praya Sabadrishu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Tamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. By regularly hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering a service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome within the heart becomes destroyed practically to nil, and a loving devotional service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, becomes established as an irrevocable fact. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahmasamitam Uttama Shloka Charitam Sakara Bhagavan Rishi Nishreya Sayalokasya Dhanyam Swasyayanam Mahat. The Srimad Bhagavatam, known as the Grantaraj, the king of all Vedic literatures, is the literary incarnation of God. It is compiled by the incarnation of God, the Sridham Vyasadeva. It is meant for the ultimate of all people. It is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Sarabhyaya Namaha Om Sarabhyaya Namaha Om Sarabhyaya Namaha Mukam karoti vacharam pangum langayate girim yatkripa tamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam yatkripa tamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Hare Krishna. Welcome to our morning Bhagavatam class. Continuing to read from Canto number 1, chapter 13, entitled Dhritarashtra Quits Home. And today we are reading text number 47. Yes, 47. Ahastani Sahastanam Apadani Chatus Padam Falguni Tatra Mahatam Jivo Jivasya Jivanam Ahastani Sahastanam Apadani Chatushpadam Falguni Tatra Mahatam Jivo Jivasya Jivanam Ahastani Sahastanam Apadani Chatushpadam Falguni Tatra Mahatam Jivo Jivasya Jivanam Ahastani Sahastanam Apadani Chatushpadam Falguni Tatra Mahatam Jivo Jivasya Jivanam
Ahastani Sahastanam Apadani Chatushpadam Falguni Tatra Mahatam Jivo Jivasya Jivanam
Ahastani
Sahastanam
Apadani
Chatuspadam
Falguni Tatra Mahatam
Jivo Jivasya Jivanam Ahastani. Those who are devoid of hands. Sahastanam. Of those who are endowed with hands. Apadani. Those who are devoid of legs. Chatupadam. Of those who have four legs. Falguni. Those who are weak. Tatra. There. Mahatam. Of the powerful. Jivaha. The living being. Jivasya. Of the living being. Jivanam. Subsistence. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Sridham Prabhupada Ki. Those who are devoid of hands are prey for those who have hands. Those devoid of legs are prey for the four-legged. The weak are the subsistence of the strong, and the general rule holds that one living being is food for another. Kindly repeat after me. Those who are devoid of hands are prey for those who have hands. Those devoid of legs are prey for the four-legged. The weak are the subsistence of the strong.
The weak are the subsistence of the strong.
And the general rule
And the general rule
holds that one living being
holds that one living being
is food for another.
is food for another.
Facts of life. Realities of, yeah. Realities of life. Purport. A systematic law of subsistence in the struggle for existence is there by the supreme will, and there is no escape for anyone by any amount of planning. The living beings who have come to the material world against the will of the Supreme Being are under the control of a supreme power called Maya Shakti, the deputed agent of the Lord, and this Daivi Maya is meant to pinch the conditioned souls by threefold miseries, one of which is explained here in this verse. And the following few words are in italics, means it is being emphasized. The weak are the subsistence of the strong. No one is strong enough to protect himself from the onslaught of a stronger. And by the will of the Lord, there are systematic categories of the weak, the stronger, and the strongest. There is nothing to be lamented if a tiger eats a weaker animal, including a man, because that is a law of the Supreme Lord. But although the law states that a human being must subsist on another living being, there is the law of good sense also, for the human being is meant to obey the laws of the scriptures. This is impossible for other animals. Hare Krishna. The human being is meant for self-realization, and for that purpose he is not to eat anything which is not first offered to the Lord. The Lord accepts from his devotee all kinds of food preparations made of vegetables, fruits, leaves, and grains. Fruits, leaves, and milk in different varieties can be offered to the Lord. And after the Lord accepts the foodstuff, the devotee can partake of the prasad, by which all suffering in the struggle for existence will be gradually mitigated. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 9:26. Even those who are accustomed to eat animals can offer foodstuff not to the Lord directly, but to an agent of the Lord under certain conditions of religious rites. Injunctions of the scriptures are meant not to encourage the eaters of animals, but to restrict them by regulative principles. The living being is the source of subsistence for other, stronger living beings. No one should be very anxious for his subsistence in any circumstances, because there are living beings everywhere, and no living being starves for want of food at any place. Maharaj Yudhishthir is advised by Narada not to worry about his uncles suffering for want of food, for they could live on vegetables available in the jungles as prasad of the Supreme Lord, and thus realize the path of salvation. Exploitation of the weaker living being by the stronger is the natural law of existence. There is always an attempt to devour the weak in different kingdoms of living beings. There is no possibility of checking this tendency by any artificial means under material conditions. It can be checked only by awakening the spiritual sense of the human being by practice of spiritual regulations. The spiritual regulative principles, however, do not allow a man to slaughter weaker animals on one side and teach others peaceful coexistence. If man does not allow the animals peaceful coexistence, how can he expect peaceful existence in human society? The blind leaders must therefore understand the Supreme Being and then try to implement the kingdom of God. The kingdom of God, or Rama Rajya. Haribol. We have come to the point. Is impossible without the awakening of God consciousness in the mass mind of the people of the world. Translation again: those who are devoid of hands are prey to those who have hands. Those devoid of legs are prey for the four-legged. The weak are the subsistence of the strong, and the general rule holds that one living being is food for another. So taking the spirit of the text and the purport, what is it? Rama Raja has to be established. Yes, actually, ultimately, as Sanjaya, the original Sanjaya, nicely concludes the very last, isn't it? Instruction, very last verse in the Bhagavad Gita. The very last verse. Wherever there is Krishna and his devotees, it's coming just before the pictures. '78 is the last verse. Yatra Yogeswara Krishno, Yatra Partho. We have one Partha here who is fighting with mosquitoes in the morning. Fighting must be there, but not with mosquitoes. Let's get mosquito net and transcend. Yatra Yogeswara Krishno, Yatra Partho Dhanur Dhara, Tatro Srir Vijayo Bhutir Dhruva Nitir Matir Mama. Wherever there is Krishna, Krishna is here. Krishna and his support, Balaram. Wherever there is Krishna, the master of all mystics, and wherever there is Arjuna, his disciple, followers, the supreme archer, there will also certainly be opulence, victory, extraordinary power, and morality. That is my opinion. Conclusion of Bhagavad Gita. So, yes, we are living in Kali Yuga, which means that actually Maya reigns supreme. However, there is a twist. There is an opportunity, a very rare opportunity. All Kali Yugas except one Kali Yuga, isn't it? In the day of Lord Brahma, 1,000 cycles of 4 yugas take place. That means 1,000 Kali Yugas come. But only this Kali Yuga has the opportunity, gives us the opportunity, offers us a chance to actually change the Kali Yuga, to reestablish, to manifest Satya Yuga. And in keeping with this law which is being referred to here, by nature the strong will devour and control the weak. That is a law of nature. Therefore, the strongest, the strength, Krishna is a source of all strength, and that is meant to be represented by dharma. And therefore, for Krishna to be properly glorified, for Krishna's kingdom, here Prabhupada makes reference to the kingdom of God. We are meant to actually help manifest the kingdom of God, the kingdom of Krishna, Krishna's kingdom, which means establishing the principles of dharma. It is this point is being made here by Srila Prabhupada. Animals they're totally under 100% under the control of material nature. But in the human form of life, we're also under the claws or the clutches of material nature. But by cultivating knowledge, we can we can conquer over what is what is actually not natural, or what is not natural means what is going against the principles of dharma. So human form of life is specifically and especially meant to understand about dharma. Krishna descends in the material world. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya saduskritam dharma samstapanartaya sambhavami yuge yuge, to re-establish the principles of dharma. So who will say that dharma is not important? Dharma is the key to properly become situated, is the key for opening the doors to self-realization. Without dharma, there is no human society. There's no proper civilization. And that is the situation today. The people, especially blind leaders, Prabhupada is again and again in so many places, rascal civilization, rascal leaders, passing all kinds of legislation that are totally destructive, killing human civilization in so many different ways. So therefore Prabhupada wanted us that we systematically learn and study and be trained in dharmic principles, and those are eternally established. Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam. They are established by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is stated by Jamaraj in the whole Leela of Ajamil. Ajamil was being dragged by the Yamadutas, and then because he called out his son's name, Narayan, then the Vishnu Dutas came. There was a whole big dialogue. Hey, when we yawn, this is, you cover or you make sound. This is like ABCs of Dharma. We don't even know the ABCs of Dharma. Therefore, the whole world is in chaos. Therefore, the devotees are also in chaos. Our Vaishnavacharyas, they come to reestablish, they come to help Krishna's mission to establish the principles of Dharma. And that is that is throughout the pages of the Bhagavatam especially. And they're meant to be heard, they're meant to be studied, they're meant to be discussed, they're meant to be applied. Otherwise, we're just what is called wishy-washy. Wishy-washy, not here, not there. Means Maya. So one of the foremost responsibilities that Prabhupada mentioned that we all have actually is to systematically, especially train leaders in society. Train leaders in society. There are natural leaders in society. They are referred to in the Bhagavatam. And only ultimately Prabhupada just comes to that simple conclusion. We have to establish the kingdom of Ram, which means Vedic culture based on these eternal. This is very unique. It is very unique to Krishna consciousness and to Vedic culture. We have something that even in other religions they don't have, because ours is not simply a religion. Dharma is not just a belief. Dharma is science. Most other religions are less scientific because the guidelines or the instructions that are given have been given to a particular group of people at a particular time in history. Vedic knowledge is different. Vedic knowledge is eternal. Vedic knowledge is eternally perfect. Because it is perfect, it is eternal. Only something that is perfect that doesn't need to be changed is perfect. So this perfect knowledge needs to be understood properly, and then only with such armed with knowledge, isn't it? Krishna is telling Arjuna, armed with knowledge, stand and fight. Yeah. So therefore, yeah. As Prabhupada explains also, Narada Muni is explaining this aspect of the stringent laws of nature, that those who are weak will be governed or will be devoured by those who are stronger. And that's the law of nature. So therefore, if we allow those who are not dharmic to become strong, they will trouble. The vast majority of people, Prabhupada explains, vast majority of people in any society, they're innocent.
Yes.
Isn't it? They're just, because by nature people are especially in Kali Yuga, are less understanding, and the vast majority of people, for that matter, in any yuga, they're meant to be led. They're meant to follow. The majority of people are meant to be followers. But so they're meant to be followers. So if there are no proper qualified leaders, they will follow the bad leaders because they have to follow. By nature, they're followers. Isn't it? Of course, if they had good leaders, proper leaders, then they will properly follow, and they will also be able to develop certain qualities, because there are qualities for followers. There are qualities for what is it? Prerequisite needs to be there for a student. Prerequisite needs to be there for a disciple. It is only when both the disciple or the student and the teacher or the guru is qualified, then there can be. Prabhupada gives the example, just like if the father is potent and if the mother is able to bear a child, then there will be progeny, there will be a child. But if there's a problem either with the father or the mother, then children will not be there. Same thing, teacher. If the teacher is qualified but his student is spaced out, then student will not learn. And if the student is attentive but the teacher cannot deliver the goods, then learning will not take place. So Vedic culture, and we see this especially actually in Varnashram, and we don't understand this to a large extent, that in Varnashram we need to be humble enough to accept that some are meant to be leaders and some are meant to be followers. And we need to understand that those who are in the position of leadership, they are meant to be the most ideal followers. Not that leader, because that's what we have seen in Kali Yuga history. Those who are leaders exploit the followers, abuse the followers, isn't it? So we have that experience naturally. So therefore, yeah, we're a little bit hesitant. But Vedic culture specifically teaches both leaders and followers how to be ideal leader, how to be ideal follower, and the ideal leader is the one who will be showing best example in terms of being a follower, in terms of serving Krishna. Ultimately, we all are meant to serve Krishna in different roles and capacities. So everything that is in Shastra is perfect and complete. We just have to hear it, meditate, understand it, and then apply it. Then our individual lives will become perfect. And if we do this on a large scale, then the whole of society will also become properly situated. Otherwise, chaos will reign as it is now. Chaos will, yeah. So, when giving lecture on the Nectar Devotion series of lectures that Prabhupada gave in 1972, it's so nicely present. Prabhupada is telling this philosophy of Krishna consciousness, there's nothing hazy. It is very clear. When we, many of us, before we came to Krishna consciousness, we read different books. We read books on spirituality, but most books on spirituality are unclear. People speak so many things, but at the end, there's nothing to grab onto. Not clear. But in Bhagavad philosophy is very clear. There are principles, there are concepts, there are Vedic sciences, all these 464 arts and sciences. They are standard It is standard knowledge. And that is what we are meant to, we have to capture this. We have to begin understanding, and it is only when we actually begin to realize it and understand it, then we can live it, we can apply it. Otherwise, it's just like mental speculation. It's just like it's not serious. It's just like we're not going anywhere. If we want to actually achieve something tangible, whole Vedic culture is meant to achieve what is the most tangible, what is the highest, which is reawakening our original consciousness, our God consciousness, Krishna consciousness. Then we have to follow. We have to hear, we have to follow the systems that are presented, the knowledge that is given. Yes. Thoughts or comments on this? Let's go.
Maharaj, is it not a crime to keep quiet when adharma is happening? At least in our whatever capacity, we must try to oppose it.
When what is happening?
When anything which is adharmic happening,
Oh, dharmic.
maybe cow slaughter or anything for that matter, we turning a blind side and trying to keep quiet about things.
Yeah.
Is it not a crime by in itself?
Yes. Yes. We are. The more we accept and understand that in so many different ways we are meant to uphold the principles of dharma. So naturally, when we see things that are not in keeping with dharma, then we should do something. We should protest. But that protest, our way of protesting is like Krishna came and he annihilated the asuras. Lord Chaitanya came to annihilate the demoniac mentality by the process of the holy name. And at the same time, also educating. Our process especially is by educating and training individuals to take on different roles and positions so that the adharmic elements in society can be gradually removed. So that doesn't mean that we individually just independently take things in our own hands, but we should definitely be endeavoring in various ways to bring about changes that will eliminate ultimately the adharmic elements. And ultimately, Prabhupada is giving us the clue here also. He's telling we have to reestablish. Yes. Yes.
Maharaj, we have to make political parties for that.
Eventually, that will be there, but first we have to get up in the morning and attend Mangalarti. First, we have to chant our 16 rounds. First, we have to we have to do the basics before getting on our horse and chariot.
We don't find any solution. One is this way. Otherwise, we have to take up the whole thing and try to make it Ram Raj. How we will make? unless we put,
Prabhupada has given us the whole idea is through education, by training and educating all of our devotees in understanding what is meant to be their role and their responsibility within society. That for that to happen, we have to. This was the point that was being made yesterday by your Guru Maharaj. If we only remain within an institution, we are largely, even to this day, like, what's the word? Ecclesiastic in nature. Ecclesiastic. You know, ecclesiastic, the word? Ecclesiastic is is a Christian type of term. Clergy. Clergy means like, priest in Christianity, clergy, ecclesiastic. Somebody can look up ecclesiastic, what it means. It means it's connected with just basically spiritual activities with the church. In our case, let's say with the temple, means with our within our institution. We're not relating, and we're not so effective in changing. Of course, what we are doing in terms of spiritual practice, that is having positive effect, etc. But we need to break away from the tendency of being like overly self-centered in terms of our organization. And that is only possible when we begin to understand about the system of Varnashrama. Because Varnashrama takes us beyond our temples. It takes us in the villages. It takes us,
Maharaj, and I think long run it's a losing war, because maybe for some temporary conditions of the society, they're able to follow all these things. Children not sending to Gurukul, or no self-defense, or for that matter, even proper systematic study. But on a longer run, they will suffer, because when the society is affected, they will naturally be forced.
Because of our not having properly understood about Varnashrama, and because of even present day resistance and opposition to Varnashrama. Therefore, we are doing a great disservice. We're doing a great disservice to our acharyas. Otherwise, why would our acharyas speak about the need and importance of Varnashrama? This point was brought up yesterday, actually, in the meeting I attended. This point was brought up. Point was brought up means that some of our leaders are opposed to Varnashrama. That means that they are opposed to Prabhupada.
Yes.
Prabhupada is telling establish Varnashrama. Who are we to question that, no, we don't need Varnashrama? This is going directly against Prabhupada.
Yes.
That is a dharma. In the name of dharma, we are speaking we are following the line of a dharma. Prabhupada said you establish Varnashrama dharma. Varnashrama dharma is necessary. If you don't understand what it is, you learn from those who do.
As you mentioned that we have to understand that institutes or temples are not the whole system.
Yes.
So can we say that the institute or ISKCON institute is a kind of school, and is it like an elementary school to teach the basic understanding of what is the goal of the life for human beings and how to attain it?
Yes.
But then you have to step out from the school and have to live in that understanding, but in a broader picture, like a society.
Yes, but
that's for that step out, you need also a regulation out of the school. And in the school, maybe you don't have to follow Varnashram, because there are specific teachers, specific students. You are going to learn for the life which is out of.
But that is missing. That's the
Yeah.
point. That is missing.
Yeah.
That the Varnashram college is not there. That is the school. It's not only learning that Aham Brahmasmi, I'm spirit in nature, chant Hare Krishna, etc. That is good. That is fine. But unless we teach people systematically how to live outside of the institution, then we will be lost.
Maharaj, and I don't agree with Prabhu's point, because we are not, Varnashram is not something higher, that as Maharaj said, Prabhuji said, because the institutions are literally opposing it in one way by not putting them in the right tracks. They are opposing it. It is not just they are trying to turn a blind side. Like for the brahmacharis, old people, there is no proper system, right? Because Varnashrama is not placed. Our children are going outside. Why? Because it's literally they are opposing it. They are not even in favor or trying to turn blind side. Either they are supporting us or they are opposing us. There is no middle ground. I don't see middle grounds.
Well, that element of teaching how to adjust in outside of life, in the outside temple, that was meant to be taught, is meant to be taught as Prabhupada instructed in Varnashram College. So if we are not teaching about Varnashram College, is especially meant to help individuals live in the greater society. If we just want to live in a temple or connected with the institution, then it is not complete. We're living in a bubble. We're living in a bubble, and people will not be able to relate to us, and we will not be able to relate to them also. So it is the perfection of life is not simply to go on opening temples and making devotees who are serving in the temples. That is part of it, but the training that is meant to be imparted in our temples is simultaneously in terms of, temple life and knowing about the institution, but of going beyond that as well, and reaching out. I think Prabhupada makes a point here in the purport. We have to reach out to the entire population. In the early days, Prabhupada was mentioning that we were discussing the other day, we have mainly, Prabhupada was telling, we have mainly picked up individuals to become brahmanas, to be trained as brahmanas. But Mahaprabhu's mission is for everyone, not only for the brahmanas, because brahmanas are only anyways a small percentage of the population. So there's so many things actually that are not properly understood because we're not clearly hearing and discussing what Prabhupada is explaining regarding Varnashrama Dharma. So, yeah, the basic teaching is there, but it is not fully there in that we have not. It's simple. Prabhupada said, immediately establish Varnashram College. We've not done it. We're 50 years after this, we've not done it. So it's not, it's to be expected. It's understandable that we don't understand Varnashram because we've not introduced a systematic way of learning what it is.
Maharaj, but I don't understand what is the loss that as an organization they can have by doing this. I mean, if they are not at least openly doing it, there must be some, I don't know, maybe I am not able to see the reason. There has to be some reason or something, right? When it is favoring bhakti, it is favoring the families, the devotees, everything. Why is it not discussed or any idea?
There are misconceptions. There are misconceptions and wrong understanding that it's not necessary because it's, to address the issue of Varnashrama is not so easy. is not so easy, and it's not meant actually for everyone to really, to address the issue of varnashrama to a large extent requires individuals who are able to think. The two categories of individuals who are able to think and to more deeply go into subject matter are the Brahmanas and Kshatriyas, are those who are meant to be the natural leaders. We can't expect a labor person to start giving a whole, intellectual and whatnot. Not that he cannot be very advanced as a devotee, not that he cannot be very advanced in terms of self-realization, but there are different activities, different propensities, different roles that are meant to be taken up. And it's like, who is meant to go to Gurukul? Is those who have the natural inclination, ability, and good brain, to study deeply. How many people in Kali Yuga, even amongst our devotees, can spend hours and hours reading and studying books? Very few, So the idea is that to understand about Varnashrama, we can't expect everyone to understand. So at least those who have some ability to understand should be coming together and spending the time necessary to understand. That's not happening. Yes.
So I think that it's a little bit see that how temples were established. At the beginning, almost all the temples have difficulties to find a good leader, to keep the leadership in one person.
Yes.
They always change.
Yes.
This is temple president, this is temple president, half a year, 1 year. But later, they found some persons who could keep the leadership for long term.
Right.
Also not perfectly,
Right.
but at least he was accepted.
Right.
And then 20 years leadership, that temple was really stabilized. The
Yes.
same things. Until we don't have really Brahmanical
Yes.
nature
Yes.
raised by ISKCON,
Yes.
you will not find who will establish Varnashram college. So
Yes.
one of the lack of real Brahmanical nature who can see the broad vision.
Yes.
That's why no one developed Varnashram college.
Yes. Yes.
And one more reason I feel, Maharaj, because I don't know if I'm right. I feel that maybe they want to keep everybody happy. They don't want to put facts as it is because it might.
They want to keep everyone happy.
Yes.
You mean in ignorance?
The leaders, no, happy means when the facts are too straight, people feel hard to digest it. So when we open
Right.
our mouth and we get cornered in the entire thing. So when they want everybody happy, there has to be a
But how?
propensity to, thoughts.
But
Unlike you, all are not very straight to the point.
falsely happy.
Yes, falsely.
So the key factor is is education. Vedic culture gives so much of emphasis to training and education. The whole Vedic culture is to educate us, uh, especially about the spiritual dimension of life, but that we've mentioned a number of times. Vedic culture is not only and exclusively teaching us about the primary goal and purpose of life, which is most essential, but is also teaching us how to manage this material energy, this material world, how to organize society in the most ideal, systematic, and scientific way that will favor that higher development. And that is Varnashram mission.
And also include those people who are not, just directly wanted to become devotees, but they are pious persons. They
Yes.
want to cooperate, but they maybe worship Lord Shiva, they worship something else.
Yes, yes,
But how to cooperate with them?
yes,
That's the varnashram.
yes, 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 yes.
Maharaj, I mean, I'm just trying to understand because a lot of people don't get access because now that the movement has grown very big, there are a lot of devotees in different stages. All are not getting access to the leaders of the organizations. At least I got some opportunity to spend time. I said I will not, without spending time, I'm not going to make any
Right.
move. So
You mean
is that
spiritual
also can
leaders.
be a reason that the leaders, I mean, due to the now the growth, the moment, the lot of devotees don't have personalized time or at least an interaction to a certain extent to the leaders.
Haribo, the colors have come again.
You
Yes.
mean the spiritual leader means
Yes,
who is
spiritual,
spiritual
the leaders
teachers
who are
like
running
gurus.
the organization or the philosophies.
Hey.
Yeah,
Yes.
Could it be that
That
reason or
that is a factor. Yes, but the society has grown, expanded tremendously, and we have only a few persons who are like leadership positions. So the idea is that there's a need for creating more leaders. There's a need for leaders to find ways to interact with the general, let's say, rank and file devotees.
yes.
And there's a need to introduce systematic, and that's why, again, it comes back to Varnashram college, it comes back to Gurukul. There's a need to introduce what is our Vedic system of training and educating our devotees. You see, the whole topic of education is, practically speaking, totally misunderstood. Because, first of all, when we think about, I'll ask the question, what is Vedic education? When we think of Vedic education, what comes to mind? Gurukul.
Yes, 100%.
But Gurukul is only one part of Vedic education. Gurukul is only education for the Brahmanas. That is formal education. Non-formal education we're totally unaware of.
Yes.
Non-formal Vedic education.
Yes.
What is non-formal Vedic education? Is described in the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam, chapter 11, verse 37. Yeah. Yeah, that verse, that purport that Prabhupada is telling, that Krishna and Balaram, when they go out with the cowherd boys every day, that is Vedic education.
Yes.
What does that mean?
Yes,
That is Vedic, but we hear it, but we miss it.
Yes.
We don't understand it.
Yes. Yes.
And to understand anything, some time is necessary. Some time is necessary, and we have to be willing to. What does that mean? We have to be inquisitive. I mean, the three qualities, tadvidi pranipatina pariprasnina sevaya upadekshantiti jnanam jnanina tattva darsina. We'll only get this tattva darsina, the tattva darshan. We'll only be able to see and understand when these principles are there.
Yes.
Pranipat, prashna, inquisitive, and seva. When that's not there, forget about darshan.
Maharaj, I think adding to your point, the same thing I was also telling, discussing that residential is a must. Students can't come in teaching
Yes,
class and go
yes,
back.
yes,
That
yes.
is not the way of Vedic
It-
education. You spend day and night with the teacher.
You cannot.
Sleeping, getting up,
Yes,
prasadam, everything is a part of education,
yes,
not just coming and hearing.
yes,
Yes.
yes.
playing together.
Everything.
Yes.
Everything is
Together,
education.
yeah.
That is what.
Ah, in Vedic culture, life is education, and education is life.
Yes.
It is Gayatri time. We have this. Yeah. Jai Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki.
Jai.
Jai Sri Prabhupada ki. Yes. Radha Prabhu. This is for, yes. Prabhu.
Thank you very much.
Jai. Yes.